Falcon kit that he's put out. They are still available in stores, but apparently there's not many of them left. But we've got one thanks to Epiphone. We'll have to send it back, unfortunately, but we will be playing that, so you'll get a good look at that. And most importantly, we have a lovely interview with the man himself, Brendan Small. Took some time out of his day yesterday. We pre-recorded an interview with him so that we could actually get this done and, so it won't be screwed up. So we have that for you a little later in the show. We also have giveaways. We'll be giving away some Dethklok DLC codes. We'll be giving away some Ernie Ball gear and all kinds of fun stuff. So if this is not something that you normally come to, welcome, and we'll pay you in free things. How's that? We're going to take a look at the trailer for the Dethklok 2 song pack. We'll kick it off with that, and then we'll get right into it with Bloodlines right after this. Thanks for being here. That's as somebody said. Who was it that joked this? Uzabu said that song looks very easy to watch, and that's pretty accurate. We are in a technical week for sure. But the nice thing is that the whole point of Rocksmith is that you learn the stuff at your own pace. You can go into riff repeater, you can break down sections of the song that you're having trouble with, you can slow it down, you can repeat it, all that kind of stuff. That we want you to learn how to play these songs, even if they're super aspirational songs for you. We want you to be able to get there eventually. So to show you just how easy it is to play all these songs, I have my first two guests, David Stevens in the center with the Snow Falcon, and Travis Kindred on the wing with our internal Gibson Explorer bass with the beautiful Silverburst. They're both kind of Silverbursts, but silver in different places.
Yeah.
I thought it was gray, but no. Technically, the Snow Falcon is a white guitar with a silver burst around it. And you really like this. David is our QA supervisor, so he has to play a lot of guitar at the office. And when this came in, he's like, "Can I check it out?" I'm like, "Of course, go right ahead." And Pody had nicely set it up for C standard. We're tuned down to C standard this week. So this has been set up for that with the heaviest strings that we had, which were not super heavy to begin with. But you've been really getting along with this.
It plays so nice. It has a thinner neck than I'm used to from Epiphones and Gibsons.
But it's got a wider neck, right?
Doesn't bother me.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah, and Travis, hi. Welcome back to the show. You haven't been on in a little while.
Yeah.
If you didn't see Travis's encore all about the acoustic bass, it's pretty darn interesting. So check out our replays in here in Twitch. We have a full playlist that goes over all of the encores. But if you just search our backlogs for the word encore, you'll find 12 different shows on a variety of topics. One of which is Travis talking all about bass and its history and its construction and really sort of like everything that happened up to but not including the electric bass was kind of your first show.
Exactly. Yeah, it was really fun. I had a good time. Yeah.
Yep, I had a good time too. I learned a lot on the fly.
Yeah.
That always happens on Encore.
Yeah, that's my favorite.
I'm going to get all you guys back
yes.
at the end of this. I'm finally doing an encore at the end of this month, but we'll talk about that much later. You guys are playing our first song, which is Bloodlines. This was actually note-tracked by Jason Kokel, who couldn't be here today. So I said, hey, first of all, it's such a shame because, technical metal is something that he excels at.
Yeah.
But I was like, hey, David, you want to do it? He goes, yeah, I do. But you've been practicing pretty much every day.
When I can, yeah.
Nice.
This was my favorite song of the bunch, so I wasn't going to say no.
Sure.
Oh, awesome.
What are we looking for here? Like, what have you been spending the most time drilling on within this song?
Oh God. The main riffs aren't too bad. There's a couple of quick scale runs that are really hard to sight read. So jump into riff repeater, just work them. They're just great exercises too. If when you hear people say practice your scales, like they say it for a reason.
Yep.
It's very valuable.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Yeah, the bass part's actually pretty approachable. It's really fun. I played through it once and did fairly well, and then I was in practice a bunch a day.
And then everything went pear-shaped because
welcome
to working at Studio San Francisco.
A few tech nightmares today, so I've been managing those.
All right, well then...
I think we'd be anxious if it went too smooth.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
What's gone wrong that we don't know about?
The ancient Greeks would create their vases and their urns with intentional imperfections. It was hubris. They did not want to. Only gods can create things that are. So that's the way. We're not gods.
Yeah. But we're as close as you can get, apparently.
Yeah, they were pretty darn close. All right, let's play Bloodlines from Dethklok, one of the 3 songs in Dethklok Song Pack 2. Feel free to continue asking questions. I've already seen a few. I will answer those in text as I see them come through, and our friend UB Vertigo will help me with the giveaway after the song. First prizes go out after we're done with Bloodlines.
those drums.
Yeah, it's a very nice outro. Travis, somebody, let's see, Beatmaster80 says, if you're playing Murder Face, are we going to see your angry face today? And I don't think you have one. Travis Kindred is our ball of sunshine.
Hello.
So he's generally not somebody who gets grumpy. Certainly not on the stream, because you like being on the stream.
Yeah, this is really fun for me. Yeah, and it's a fun one. You know, like it gets into those faster notes.
I will tell you that Mini Medkit thinks you're cute.
Oh shucks.
So
well, thanks.
That's very nice.
It's mostly with the bass. Without the bass, it's a sight to be unseen.
Swedish Brute asks, would this be a good song to practice arpeggios, or are there any other songs that you would recommend for doing arpeggios? Is this a good one for that, or?
Well, I think David could answer that better than I could.
No.
No, don't do it on this one.
There's not much in the way of arpeggios here.
Okay.
It is good for string skipping in the main riff. You know, when you're just keeping that chug 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 on the low E, and then you're trying to bump up to the A and the D string.
Yep.
Good practice for that. And then there's that little hammer on, or I guess pull off rather, in the second half of that riff. And you know, you're just planting up here, but you're also pulling off on the next string. Also good practice. I'm a big fan of that riff. I've always liked to play stuff like that.
Cool.
Yeah. I think it's a really great one for listening to how bass and drums are related. You hear that a lot. You know, the riff itself. You know, you know, it's a.
Man, that thing is thunderously low when it's tuned down to
that
C.
makes me all kinds of happy. I think I'm not doing the rhythm correctly, but it's so tied in with the drums that without the drum set, it's almost a little bit harder.
Sure.
And especially the end where you have that bomb, ba-da-da-dom, ba-ya-da-da-dom. The drums are going bom,
Yeah, you sort of sync up.
Yeah, you really if you're trying to sort of like, okay, I got it, then you're gonna have a harder time. If you're listening for the drums, you're like, yeah, I hear them, and I'm playing with them. Then you really get that feel of like, oh, okay, cool. I can see how this was written, and I can see how this should be played.
Right. Cool.
Yeah.
Thank you both. You did
Thank
an
you.
admirable job.
Oh shucks. Thanks.
Oh gosh. Let's give some stuff away to you out of a thrill for such a good job they did. We have our first of our 2 Ernie Ball prize packs. We'll give 2 of these away over the course of the show, but of course you'll need to stick around for the second one. If you don't get the first one, that's okay. You'll have a second chance, and somebody's going to win everything you see here. It is pretty representative of what you're actually going to get. You have a brand new set of regular Slinky strings for your guitar, and also the bass Slinky strings for the bass. If you have one or both, that's fine with us. You can have them each. We also have the Wonder Wipes. People, I've sort of gotten a reputation for singing the praises of the Wonder Wipe system. But picture, if you will, a pre-moistened towelette, kind of like those little things that you get at Kentucky Fried Chicken, right? Except instead of having like a nice little soapy thing on there to clean your fingers after eating chicken, you instead have things take all of that stuff off of your guitar. So string cleaner so that your strings last longer, a fretboard conditioner and moisturizer so that when you change the strings, you can actually put some of the much needed stuff back into the fretboard, especially rosewood fretboards and open wood fretboards, and of course some polish just to polish everything else on the guitar. Super nice. Plus a peg winder, which makes changing your strings a lot easier. We still have a few of the black straps. The color does tend to vary, but this time we have black straps, so we're doing it. And also you're going to get some picks as well. You're going to get a dozen of Ernie Ball's picks plus 3 of our highly collectible, only available here, pink Rocksmith Skullboy picks. It's the Rocksmith R on one side, and I believe you can see on the screen there is a little cartoon of one of our mascots from our various little mini games in Guitarcade, Skullboy. And I believe there was a Skullboy bobblehead in the background of the first game in the actual sort of like little room that you're playing in. So all of this can be yours if you follow what UB Vertigo tells you to do. Our friend UB Vertigo is actually our community manager, Doug, and Doug is going to take care of all of this for you and with you. So if you need any information about what you need to get into the raffle, he'll tell you now, or he has already told you to scroll through the chat. If you are just joining us, you have not missed the big Brendan Small interview that we have on this week's Rocksmith livestream. My name's Dan Amrick. I'm the community developer on behalf of Rocksmith, and it was my pleasure to speak with Brendan Small this week. And after this next song, I think we will actually do that. We are also testing out some new equipment in the office, or in the streaming room today, in Studio R, as I have come to start calling it. So you may notice things are a little bit different, hopefully a little bit clearer. We've changed some software. We've got some new hardware in the PC. We had to chase down some little demons and gremlins and stuff like that. So we're a little sort of off the rails compared to our normal show, which is to say even more off the rails. Let's see. Later on, we will do that interview. We will also have another one of those things to give away, the Ernie Ball prize packs, and we have some DLC codes for the Steam version of Dethklok as well. So you have plenty of opportunities to win. Now, we also will answer questions as we can. Because of the interview, we won't do probably our dedicated Q&A segment that we would normally do on a weekly show, because quite honestly, hearing from Brendan Small directly in an exclusive interview is kind of more important than everything else, as far as I'm concerned. So I will continue to try to answer all of your questions as you ask them. Anything that I can answer, I will answer. I cannot guarantee that I'll give you the answers that you were hoping for. We had a couple people ask already, like, wait, is Rocksmith coming to Switch? We don't currently have any plans to do Switch. But if you're looking for Rocksmith on the go, you can do iOS, which we are currently soft-launched in Canada. Ask a friend in Canada to tell you all about it. And that will eventually be going worldwide. We don't have a date yet, but that's our plan anyway. And of course, I always laugh because people are like, but I really want a copy of Rocksmith that I can take with me and practice, wherever I go. Have you considered a laptop? Because we work on both PC and Macintosh, and it's very simple to grab your guitar and plug in some headphones and take the laptop wherever it is that you want to go. If you are stationary enough to hold a guitar and keep going, you should be just dandy. So we are having even more technical problems than I expected. What the heck is going on today? It's one of those days. Let's see. What else? Oh, yes. We talked a little bit about Rocksmith Encore before. I will stall by telling you about Rocksmith Encore. People who have tuned into the show before know this. That what we do is once a month, we will do a little bonus show on Monday at the same time, 3 o'clock Pacific, 6 p.m. Eastern. And that bonus show is about whatever our note trackers and the people here that make the game want to talk about. As long as we feel that it'll be relevant and or informational or entertaining or educational to you in terms of guitar or music in general, then we want to be able to have a platform to talk about that stuff, sort of outside of what the game would normally do. We've had Brian McCune, our manager of musical content, come in and talk about the physics of music and why pitches work the way that they work and what's going on. And we have also, don't leave that up there. We have had Arthur Von Nagel, if you're a metal fan, goes over all the subgenres of metal, because that's something that is super difficult to determine. If you're not an avid fan of metal, there's death metal, there's black metal, there's thrash metal, there's speed metal, there's all these different subgenres, and it's all good. But he will actually walk you through for like 90 minutes on how to tell the difference and where all that stuff came from. Those are just 2 of the Rocksmith Encore shows that we have, and they're all available here on Twitch. So check out our previous shows, search either for the word Encore or just look for the Encore playlist. And I'm happy to say that I think we're ready for our next song, and it's a song that everybody really digs. It's just one of those. I'm sorry to keep you waiting, Sam.
Oh, it's fine.
Oh, all right, good. See, and thank you for breathing, because obviously it's not something I do when I speak.
Just reminding you that air
It's hard
is
to keep
important.
the words going.
It is good.
Yeah,
Oxygen.
it's hard to
I'm gonna
keep the
black out any time now. It's just that's how I keep things running. Is just keep talking. That's pretty much it.
That's how I like. It's like coffee for me. I just keep coffee.
Yeah,
and then
coffee.
I start bleeding brown. I'm like, that's weird.
Well, the guy that bleeds brown in the blue shirt is Sam Schwartz. He's one of our note trackers, and in the center is Brian Pody, not only one of our note trackers, but usually the guy that's running the Wheels of Steel. and putting out and or causing all kinds of fires.
Well, if you
today you've
cause
just
enough, you have to learn to put them out.
That's
is the
right.
issue.
Yeah, no, you've been fixing more problems than you created today, so that's good. It's like you get a banana sticker. How's that? You guys are here to play Mermaider,
right.
which very good.
Yeah.
Sam is one of the people who can actually do the vocals without any sort of other processing. I'm always super impressed.
Oh, well, thank you, Dan.
So you guys are both playing guitar on this.
That's
Which one
right.
of you, actually, you're both note trackers. Who did the note track?
So, no.
I
They
was going to do this, and then you were like,
they actually originally assigned this note track to Anthony, and I was like, someone has clearly made a mistake.
Anthony is a totally fine note tracker and a value to the team, but when it comes to extreme metal, not really his wheelhouse, right?
Well, it's just that there was no me on Dethklok, and I
Oh, yeah, and you're
That-
like, no, excuse me, I
Yeah.
need to. I'll swap
It
you a
seemed
Jack
like an
Johnson for a
oversight.
Dethklok, and Anthony's like, that sounds great. Okay, so is it as hard as it sounds?
it's actually pretty straightforward.
Okay,
You know, it's got some fast chugga, but like the guitar and the bass are playing the same thing
okay.
in all those parts.
Is this why you're playing two different guitar parts today? Because the guitar and the bass are playing the same thing, so there's no real point
Well,
to
the
have somebody-
guitars are playing the same thing at that point too, but I don't know. the two guitar parts fit together well.
wasn't
and
it
they're
more
fun.
like you had it was something about the way they do it live? Like, a lot of these tunes were hard to do because of the way that they were recorded, because live they do them a little bit differently because there's not 7 guitar players.
Yeah, there's so many guitars on the recordings.
So like a lot of us tried to make arrangements that sort of reflected what they do live.
Mhm.
And I think that's what we have
Yeah,
here.
so if you just play the regular like lead in rhythm arrangements, they're what you might expect as like lead in rhythm. It's all the, high stuff up the neck and then the solo on the lead chart and the chuggy stuff
Mhm.
in the rhythm chart. But the way they break it up live is Brendan plays all the chuggy stuff and then he plays the solo, and the other guitar player plays all the high up stuff and not the solo. So the alt arrangements, the alt rhythm and the alt lead break it up that way.
Okay, so you guys are going to be doing what Dethklok does live
Right.
by doing
Yeah.
alt lead and alt rhythm.
yeah.
Would you guys mind throwing up the quick tuner
Oh no.
for me?
Nope.
No.
Nope.
Just in like the escape menu.
Maybe we think that may be part of the problem. We
We
kept
should just
hitting
go-
Yeah,
an issue.
just that one. Because this guitar
Yeah, I
is
did
not.
I did tune this to C standard, but then I didn't do anything with it for like 5 days, and I think that it probably drifted.
Yeah.
Yeah, C standard is this week's tuning. I know some people are really allergic to tuning down, and to which I say, first of all, don't be. Amazing things can happen when you tune.
It's really cool.
And you can get very different sounds, and you'll approach the instrument in a different
Thank
way.
you.
And also, if you're like, oh, but I've got a Floyd Rose or a Locking Nut or a more complicated system where down tuning is really tricky, that's your excuse to buy a new guitar, hopefully. So
You just need several.
yeah, I'm a really big
Yeah.
fan of just get another guitar. My wife less so, but it does work as long as you can get away with it. So yes,
I was just gonna say the solo is kind of tricky because it has some sweeps, and the thing that makes them kind of hard is they're actually not that fast. They're at like kind of this weird pace where you can't play them slowly
I
and
was
you
having a
can't
hard-
just like through them.
The form is weird too. So like when he does I looked at it because I was curious, and I went in there and I was like, how's he doing that? And he doesn't hit. A lot of times when you have those big shapes that start on the A string, you hit 2 notes on the A string a lot
Yeah,
of times. So that was confusing to me because
Yeah, that
when
really throws
when
me
I
off
do it,
'cause they're not the shapes that I'm used to.
right. It's just a little tiny different, but those
Yeah.
little tiny differences will just screw your whole gameplay.
He
man.
talks a little bit about that in the
he
interview.
does
The-
actually.
the arpeggios in
Oh,
the
man,
song
I'm
in
excited.
particular.
We should do that
Explain
interview
yourself,
after we play the
Brendan.
song. Yeah, well, he can and he does.
I'm excited.
And it also runs just directly through like 4 modes, which is really cool. So it's a good opportunity to try to play your modes extremely fast.
In C standard.
Yeah.
in C standard. All right, Mermaider by Dethklok.
Let's do it.
Enough of this yakking. What do you say? Let's boogie.
Let's get to some snacking.
This is one of the 3 songs in the Dethklok 2 DLC song pack. And of course, we do have a Dethklok 1 song pack. So if you're looking for Go Into the Water
Whoa.
or
I'm so
Thunder
loud.
Force,
It's so
yeah.
fun. I'm so low. My lord.
After this, we'll run that. We'll give away some DLC codes and we'll run that Brendan Small interview. So Stick around.
This also has a ton of pitch harmonics in it, so
Yes, I love those low pinches. They're so great.
fish don't have no good pedals.
Oh God. I think that's my favorite Dethklok song. It's just so relentless and kind of ridiculous at the same
Oh, yeah.
time.
It's great.
I love it.
It's just like it's not super complex in a certain way. It's like it's just
it's the execution.
yeah, it's
right?
yeah, it's like it's precision. It's
Yeah.
precision at its best, and it's just
And
like
it's
just-
very amusing. Yeah, I can play that whole solo like note for note from memory now, but those sweeps at that speed are just really awkward.
Right.
they're really weird. It's super strange.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had a hard
It's
time
got
with
a
it too. I
cool
was
like
that
big
that
slide
screws
in
me
it,
up too.
too.
Yeah, that was the thing that was like because what
Yeah.
is it? Yeah. Yeah. See, that's what screws me up.
yeah, the shapes are
Yeah, because I would want to do. Yeah, it's weird and.
and then
So just do it like that.
Yeah,
and you're
just
fine.
do it like that.
And faster and lower.
Right.
Thank you both.
thank you.
I think
Yeah.
it's time to do two things. One, we're going to give away some codes for this stuff. So if you'd like to try tuning down to C standard and doing crazy sweep peaking,
Sweat peaking.
sweep peaking.
I don't actually change strings to tune down to C.
Okay, so Matt Al actually asked how you had set up the Snow Falcon for C. I thought you changed the strings.
I did change the strings on that.
Right.
I think it came with nines, but also, it came straight out of the box. I figured it
Yeah.
needed a tweak.
Of course, the
also,
pony touch.
A good thing to try this on that I had success with was you might have to adjust the truss rod a little bit, but with my acoustic guitar, because they normally come with thicker strings. And I tune like I now keep my guitar in D standard because I don't play a lot of shows on it, so I just write with it. So for me, it's like having it in D standard just sounds. I'm just like it just sounds better down there.
Yeah.
John Fogerty agrees.
Yeah,
right.
Word. Yeah.
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 Yeah, I mean, we've talked about it. If you want to keep the feel the same, go up a gauge for each whole step that you go down.
Right.
So if you go down to C, go up 2 gauges. If you play 9s, put on 11s.
Right.
My Les Paul lives with 11s on it all the time, so tuning it down to C, it still feels fine.
Yeah. Most of my guitars do 11s, but that's because I have a heavy right hand, and I want to be able to just hit all the strings
hit
really
it.
hard
Yeah. I had a
on
teacher
all of my
like
rhythm
that.
guitar. Yeah.
I used to play with 11s too, and then it just got to be to a point where I was like, I just like doing those like I started getting into this, or these like.
Oh, well,
like
yeah,
that kind
sure.
of stuff,
you're-
and I was just like,
It depends
do
on the
that.
guitar for me. Like anything with a Floyd Rose has 9s on it.
yeah, that's
Right.
true. Well, okay, but if you're doing country things, you can't do double stop bends, right? Because you bend the one that you're not bending goes out of tune.
I feel like everyone in country should be using a Floyd Rose.
Okay, well, you and I might just
You
disagree.
are the revolution that Nashville needs.
But yeah, put that on a telly, man. Like,
I've been thinking about it.
B bender. It's an F bender now.
yeah.
All right. So anyway, we're going to give away some codes. I think that the raffle's going on right now. But while we resolve that, it is time for the Brendan Small interview. Are we ready for this? I think we're ready for this. So what happens yesterday, we got a chance to catch up with Brendan Small about what he's been up to lately since Dethklok. So we talk a little bit about the Snow Falcon. We talk a bit about Galacticon. We talk about some of his other stuff. And he actually runs through, when we start talking about the specific songs in this pack, he sort of shows you, oh, this is what I was doing when I did that. So hopefully you'll dig this. When we come back from this, we will, of course, have another song. We're still going to play Blackfire Upon Us. Not Among Us. I keep getting that wrong. And I even looked down at it. Blackfire Upon Us is going to be our final song of the day, and we have more giveaways as well. But enjoy this Brendan Small interview, and thank you very much to Brendan Small for his time. He took the time out of a busy week. We're like, are we going to be able to do it? Are we going to be able to do it? And it did come together, and it was so worth the wait. So enjoy the interview, and we'll be back with more music after this. Hey, everybody. I am very, very pleased to welcome back to the Rocksmith live stream our old friend. Can we call you a friend at this point? Brendan Small of Galacticon and Dethklok fame?
Why not? Let's get
Checks in the mail. Hey, so obviously this is our second pack of Dethklok music, which if people don't know, you actually play on. The music is not an afterthought for Metalocalypse. It was all your baby, including your mad lead skills as a metal guitarist.
Yeah, I hate to break it to everybody, but the music wasn't written by a cartoon.
Yeah.
I don't know. People don't want to hear that.
Well,
but sadly, it's true.
We get a fair amount of like, why don't you guys put real music in the game? And so that became the phrase this week is, oh, finally, some real music from a cartoon band.
From a fake band that doesn't exist.
Exactly. But since we spoke to you, you have actually launched a whole new brand. You have a brand new story that you're trying to tell under the banner of Galacticon. And there's a lot to this already. You've got 2 albums. You've got a video. You've got a comic book. And if any Dethklok fans are finding out about it now, my guess is that they probably are caught flat-footed. Like, where do you start? What kind of story is Galacticon? What are you trying to tell? And then what's the best onboarding for people that know what you've done before?
It is a few different things. One of them is that it's an excuse for me to play my guitar. That's one of the things. And then what happened out of it was it was an excuse for me to tell some stories. And then it was an excuse for me to get behind the camera and make a short film that was like a very inspired piece, inspired by a bunch of like early 80s practical effects movies. So I got to do a whole bunch of stuff. But ultimately, I'd say check out the record Galacticon and Galacticon 2. They're 2 very different stories, but in the same world. And there's a comic book that I did with Eric Powell, who you may know from The Goon. He's a very popular and talented guy. So you can get those at your comic book shop, or you can go to galacticon.com and you can buy those there. So I'd say check out the music, check out the comic book, and then go to funnyordie.com and check out the Galacticon Nightmare short, and get an eye full of that stuff too, because it's really fun.
Are both Galacticon albums featuring the same character as the lead character, or do they just are they different stories from different characters in the same universe? Because
That's a good question. That's a very good question. One story I talk about a lot, another story I don't talk about as much. But the thing that's happening, the thing that I think I'm realizing from the Metalocalypse fans that find Dethklok or find Galacticon 2 is that they're experiencing some kind of comfort, some kind of finality to the whole Metalocalypse experience through Galacticon 2, and that's kind of nice. And they're interpreting it to be their own thing.
Okay.
So that's all I really feel comfortable talking about.
That's
right
fine.
now. Yep.
Let the fans decide. That's cool.
They decide. You decide.
You decide.
Yeah.
So we have on loan from Epiphone this week, and we're going to be playing it on the show that this interview is part of. We finally got our hands on your Snow Falcon. A long time ago, when we were interviewing you last time, you had a prototype Gibson, and you showed off some of that and some of the things that you wanted to do, and we never got a chance to play any of your instruments. So this time, I just reached out to Epiphone and said, "Hey, we're gonna be doing Dethklok, and we're gonna be probably talking with Brandon. Can we get one of the guitars in just as a loaner?" And they're like, "Oh yeah, sure." And they sent us one. So I have specific questions about the decisions you made behind the Snow Falcon.
Sure.
And I figure you can answer those.
I could probably answer that. Yeah.
Yeah. If anybody's curious what the Snow Falcon is, and you've just suddenly tuned into the show, or you're watching this as a separate segment, it's the guitar over his shoulder. Exactly. That white flying V.
It's not that one there.
Right. It's that one there. It's a flying V.
I do that.
It's it's white with a gray burst, right? Oh, that's perfect.
It's like a silver burst. It's a silver burst flying V.
Okay.
So that's what it is. And honestly, like it's a really great playing guitar with a very playable neck and burst bucker pickups. Here's what this is the classic Les Paul, and I don't think I want to stray too far from that when I'm doing a Gibson or Epiphone model, because I don't think the audience really wants to stray too far either. So it's got the Tune-o-matic bridge, just like the Les Paul. It's got 22 frets. You don't go too much more, but it's got burst bucker pickups, which are kind of anything from classic rock to the record, like the Dethklok records that you listen to. Those are the same pickups I played for all that stuff. And yeah, and then ultimately I have a cool what do you call it, kill switch tone knob, and I have a push-pull pot that splits the coil taps the whole thing.
So that was one of my main questions, because I can see you, like, the tone knob doubles as a kill pot, so you tap that, and it does that cool cutout effect. Buckethead fans will know that very well.
Yeah.
But the push-pull coil tap is, do you actually use a single coil sound in what you're doing, or did you include that as an option on this guitar just for the overall value to somebody saying, I want to be able to get maximum tones out of this thing? With minimal fuss.
The way that I work is when I'm recording guitars or I'm overdubbing, I want to ultimately I'll go and I'll restring all my guitars, and I'll sit with one and I'll get very used to it for one session. So for one day, if I decided I'm going to play a lead on that guitar, and I did, I used that exact guitar, which is my number one prototype Epiphone Snow Falcon. I use it on the song Nightmare that's featured, the short film is featured, and I decided to get some interesting weird sounds out of it. So you're going to hear a lot of harmonies, you're going to hear a lot of like nasally wah sounds, you're going to hear a lot of like more oboe kind of tones, but that's just me messing around with the tone knobs, pushing and pulling the pickups. So ultimately I want one guitar in my lap, and I want to see how many sounds I can get out of it, from like Stratty sounds to like classic Gibson, classic rock sounds to modern metal sounds. And if you play it right, you can kind of do that,
Okay.
So that's the idea, is how many sounds can I get out of one guitar?
Right. David Stevens, our QA lead here, has been really enjoying this, and he's like, are you sure we have to send this back? But he noticed that the neck seems really wide. Is it just my imagination, or is this a wider, or the widest possible sort of Epiphone neck that you can do?
It is a nice wide neck, and something Gibson did over the years. I know they had some questionable moves that some people like and some people don't like. Go online and check all that stuff out. I see it on your face. But I like a wide neck. I like what they did on a lot of their USA models. They added like a couple centimeters on either side, and I noticed that sometimes as long as I've been playing and as much as I've performed, sometimes I'll yank this string over the side and get. That's actually kind of a cool sound. There, that's a cool sound you can get.
Yeah.
But you can. My dog, I can hear my dog just reacted to that. It sounds like I was strangling a goose. But yeah, you can. I think that's what they did. But if not, that may just be the 1960s kind of slim taper neck profile that they usually use. So I gave them my USA version. I said, copy this, and I'll adapt, within a few centimeters from guitar to guitar because like some necks will be thicker. Like the one that I'm holding right now is a thicker neck. This is from the custom shop. It's a 59 reissue. So it's a little bit fatter of a neck, and it's kind of like the perfect in between the 50s and 60s kind of neck. But I like a slim taper neck, and it's a little bit easier on your hand after a while. But there's a lot of tone and fat necks as well. So I like all kinds of necks. But it is wide, to answer your question.
Okay.
I like when you play a classical, like a nylon string guitar, and you get a really wide fretboard. I just like being able to play it. It doesn't really hurt my hands so much. So
I have really small hands, so I noticed it right away. But people with more generous hands, they've been like, "Wow, this is wider than I expected." And I think it's just because they're used to playing other models. But I was like, "Yeah, I'm struck by how big this neck is overall. It's like it's got a nice meaty profile on the sculpt, but it was really like, is this 11/16 or what? I didn't know how wide it actually was." But it came to us in its original gig bag. It's got a beautiful white Flying V gig bag with the Galacticon logo on it, the whole bit.
Yeah.
And the whole thing just sort of says like, wow, this is limited. It's a limited edition. It's a limited edition. How limited is limited? Is it even still in production? If now that we've got people drooling about it, are they going to be able to go out and get it?
We decline this call. Sorry. That is a good question. They do a run. I'm not exactly sure what the number is, but I'd say if you have an inkling to get one now, because all the guitars I've done have been limited edition. So the Gibson USA guitars, the Thunder Horse guitar, and the original run of the Snow Falcon were like 300 runs, and they kind of like to do that smaller run.
Sure.
And I think they think that it increases value for the thing, and they get snapped up pretty quickly, and collectors and fans of the music buy them very quickly. So I'd say if you want to get one of those things, it's worth checking them out now, because they keep moving new artists in from quarter to quarter, year to year, and all that stuff.
Sure.
So I don't know exactly what the number run of that is.
Because I went looking for a Thunder Horse, and they've all appreciated in value, let's say. So even if it's the kind of thing where if you buy it and you go, maybe this isn't my lifetime guitar, you can probably pass it on to another fan for a slight profit as well. Because
Yeah, that's the good thing about American-made guitars is oftentimes they're known for holding their value and if not increasing. So sometimes tell that to your parents,
Right. It's an investment, Mom.
Yes, I'm being smart with my money.
I actually did that. My first guitar that I bought in high school, I got lucky and got a 79 Les Paul, and I wound up just selling it about a couple of years ago for a significant profit, and it helped me get a house. It was that significant. So dreams come true. Start buying more guitars, I guess, is the message. Last thing I wanted to ask you was I'm a big pinball nerd. I'm a big pinball fan, and I go to an annual show. I actually help one here in the Bay Area for pinball collectors and video game folks, and like it's literally 500 machines on free play for a weekend, and it's fantastic. And there's always a line at the Metallica Stern table, and this year there was a big line for the Aerosmith Stern table last summer. And I had no idea as I was playing both of those machines that you are the narrator. You're the voice of both of those.
I am the obnoxious character that's like almost like at the dunk tank, like the clown that's sitting in the dunk tank taunting you. That's what I do in both of those games. So I play a character named Sparky. In fact, I have the character right here. This is done by Dirty Donnie Gillis.
Yes.
Who you know from...
I do.
Can you see that?
Yeah, so this is the toy on the playfield, right? This is the actual...
It's actually from Stern Pinball gave me this because as a thing, his head bobs around, and he's the guy who rides the lightning
right
in the game. So he's one, and then Jackie is the Jack in the Box from the Toys in the Attic era, Aerosmith thing. So I go. So they give me a bunch of lines, dialogue lines, and I go into my studio and I muster up the most obnoxious voice I possibly can, and shriek at you while you're trying to play pinball.
I never would have guessed that it was you. Because it's really out there. I mean, I know you're a voice actor. You've done a lot of different characters, but it never even would have occurred to me, like, oh, of course, that's probably Brendan Small because, hey, rock and roll. How did you come to work with Stern? Did they approach you? Did you approach them?
Oddly enough, Jody Dankberg, who is the artist relations guy at Stern, I met him years ago at the beginning of Metalocalypse, because he was working at Crank Amps. Remember Crank Amps?
I do, yes.
The best advertising they got, because you can, stream Metalocalypse now, and you just see like Crank, and then we moved to Marshall, so now Marshall, and then we have all these guitars. So Gibson got all this advertising, and MXR, Dunlop, and all kinds of Pro Tools and all those guys. So it was we all benefited from it. It was a really good mutual relationship. But that's how I met Jody, and Jody found his way to Stern Pinball in Chicago, and I love pinball. I remember when I first started doing comedy, we would go do shows, and the second floor had like a Guns N' Roses pinball game that we would all crowd around and play and congratulate ourselves on how funny we were.
Right.
And so that was something that I always loved pinball, and these games are just fun. And there are not as many people manufacturing them, but this one company, if you're going to see a pinball game somewhere, some new kind of like hipster arcade, it's going to probably be theirs. And they do big licenses like, Game of Thrones to Ghostbusters to like Stranger Things and all kinds of stuff like that. So I think pinball is always going to be cool. And furthermore, what makes them even cooler is they were one of the sponsors for the Galacticon Nightmare video. So you'll see their name in the credits for that thing too.
I did, and I wondered. I was like, what is Stern Pinball doing here? And then, our mutual contact was like,
yeah.
Oh, yeah. Well, he did the voices. I'm like, what? Yeah. So.
Yeah.
So the obvious final question, Stern just confirmed an Iron Maiden pinball game. Do you have anything to do with that, or are you just going to be playing it from the outside?
I have nothing to do with that. I think that's all Jody, because Jody knows the value of an Iron Maiden fan.
Right.
And I hope to see more bands and pinball machines come together, because I think that's such a cool...
Oh, yeah. Built-in soundtrack.
Absolutely, yeah. So, I mean, the Metallica's got Metallica everywhere, Aerosmith's got Aerosmith everywhere. Iron Maiden would be the most fun game in the world to play.
Yeah. All right, so we can hear you in the Metallica and Aerosmith pinball games at your local arcade. We can find Galacticon at galacticon.com, and that's with K's, right?
Those are K's, yeah.
And is there anywhere else that you want to send people to follow what you're up to?
Yeah, send people to galacticon.com. Do check out the records, or you can download them on iTunes if they're still in iTunes. And I want you to check out the comic book, and I want you to check out the thing. So this is a really fun world for me to play in, and I'm having a lot of fun in it. And I wasn't rushing back into TV anytime soon. I just wanted to go into business for myself for a little while, and it's been really fun creating in this world. So I really enjoy it, and it's an excuse to write jokes. It's an excuse to get behind the camera and direct. It's an excuse to play guitar. So what else could I ask for? Really?
Yeah, no, you're living the dream.
You guys are doing a whole DLC for Dethklok, which is very cool.
We try. The fans spoke up and said, we want more, we want this, we want that. We're still getting, of course, we put out 3 songs this week. We have a 3-song pack from before, and people are still like, but what about this? What about this? What about this? You've just scratched part of the second album. You didn't even get into the third album. We want the third album. So, who knows where it goes.
I don't even know if I know what the songs are at this point for the second.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
This week is Bloodlines, Mermaider, and damn it, what's the last one? Oh, wait, I have it right here. Black Fire Upon Us. I was like, it's 4 words. I can't remember what it is.
Okay.
And I was going to, So
I'll tell you, there's some good tricks in some of those songs. There's some good right-hand tricks in Bloodlines. There's one thing that you have to be really warmed up to play, which is that, and it's going to be... that thing. So I would say this is the pick I use. I'll put it over my face so you can see.
Right.
But this is a Galacticon pick.
Of course it is, but it's a very
And,
pointy pick.
So I recommend this pick. This is you can get these the Altex ones at Dunlop, and I don't pick that hard when I'm doing those things. So I'm picking kind of light. So if you see, so that kind of an idea. So if I do it well, I'm barely touching the guitar. And then there's some cool sweep arpeggios in Mermaider. So that's like another fun trick that you can learn. I do it much slower in the song, but taking seventh chords and just turning them into arpeggio. So an E minor 7, G major 7, but I'm tuned down a major 3rd. I'm tuned to standard here. So those are some fun things to look out for, but and some cool diatonic theory.
Always welcome.
There you go. I know you weren't expecting me to do that, but
no, that's kind of awesome. I was not expecting
checking that stuff out, and yeah, lots of fun little guitar moments, and those are fun songs you guys chose, or whoever chose.
Well, fun little guitar moments to you are sort of like mountains for our players to climb, because
they're hard for me. I'm having a hard time as it is. But here's what I would say is for all these things, it's almost like, remember the movie The Matrix? If you can take any of these moments and slow them down to bullet time and just really concentrate with the direction of your pick, you have to actually like slow everything down and count it down to like, okay, I'm doing an upstroke here, I'm doing a downstroke here. And everybody does it, from your favorite guitar players to, the guys who are going to get good and be able to play that stuff effortlessly. They have to spend the time and break it down and concentrate and think through it. And if you are thinking while you're practicing, then you're solving problems, and it means you're getting better. And then it's just about kind of going through that with the metronome or with the song.
Right.
So, but also like it's going, okay, I need to nail this lick next time I play the song. So how do I slow it down? How do I do it? So
you do it in Riff Repeater, which is our special mode in Rocksmith that lets you break down and slow down any part of any of the songs. So thanks. Thanks for being on brand. I really appreciate it. All right, thank you so much for your time, man. Always good to talk to you. And Galacticon.com is where we'll go next. But actually, I believe we're playing Blackfire Upon Us next. So we'll find out if people are worthy here. We have one of our best players in the office tackling that song. So
let's see.
I guess
it's a little slower, but lots of cool chord changes.
Right.
Lots of fun.
All right, man. Thank you so much. Talk to you later.
All right, I'll see you later.
That's it, kids. That was our exclusive interview with Brendan Small. We had actually done an interview with Brendan about 2 years ago for the first Dethklok pack. He's always been very, very kind with his time, and we super appreciate that he supports us supporting his music. It's like it's a nice loop when it works out like that. So yes, hopefully, and I've seen some people have been sharing the URLs for all the stuff that Brendan's up to now. Galacticon is really interesting. Obviously, if you like the music that you're hearing from Dethklok, it's the same guy behind it, and I think you will find that you'll like the Galacticon stuff very much too. Several people have asked, "Oh, are you guys going to do Galacticon?" Well, maybe. If please use that request app. Let us know what kind of stuff it is that you want to hear in our DLC library, and that does help. So rocksmith.com/requests. I'm sure that's also been shared at some point in the chat room. Before we get into our final song and our final giveaway, I did want to throw out the in case you missed it. So as you know, we have 1,200 songs now in our library, and that includes a previous pack from Dethklok. I alluded to this before, and you probably figured that out because it's called Dethklok 2. So if you were looking for, where's Awaken, where's Thunderhorse, where's Go Into the Water, those are available now. You can buy them all as a pack. You can buy them as individual singles, whatever you'd like to do. And for funsies, because I try to do these thematically, when you think of sort of comedy and metal together, there's two other artists that come to mind. Tenacious D, which we also have in the library, but I still have a very soft spot for what used to be metal. which I now guess would count as a classic rock and whatever. That's Spinal Tap. We do have a 5-pack of Spinal Tap, including Big Bottom, which is one of the funniest moments for me on our stream when we played that pack live. So these are both available. Again, you can get them as packs, you can get them as singles. But if you like what you're hearing this week, this might be a way to take it a little bit further. Give yourself some more stuff to do over the weekend. So check those out. And again, 1,200 songs. So we have much more like serious metal as well. We have Megadeth, we have Anthrax, we have Pantera, we have Slayer. Like, holy cow, we have a lot of music in our library. But we bring this up just in case you missed it to surface a few things you may or may not have realized are in the library. Okay, so I think it's time for our final song, which is Blackfire Upon Us. Now, we mentioned there at the end with Brendan in the interview that one of our best guitarists was going to be playing Blackfire Upon Us when we did this. And so now it's time for that guy to step up. It's Brian Shue, ladies and gentlemen. You probably knew that's who I was referring to. But
pressure's on.
But we also have Rai Kin, who doesn't usually show up on the stream, but thank goodness you were there Monday when we were planning the show, and I was like, hey, you want to play? You're like, yeah, sure, that's fine.
Yeah.
You have been
Good
doing.
to be back.
You do a lot of transcriptions for us, and so, but you only work 2 days a week. With us, but now it's 3. Mm-hmm. So now I can pull you into the stream a little bit easier. But thank you for being here. And actually, Matt Owl, one of our fans, said, like, how come Rye hasn't been on the stream in a while? I'm like, because I just keep forgetting to invite him. Like, straight up, it's my fault. So thanks for being here.
Hey.
And so you've got this down, both of you? This is Blackfire.
No.
Rye, I was going to play this on bass if you didn't, and I guarantee you're going to do a better job than I do. But
I played through it once.
Oh,
so we'll
no.
I played through it twice, but him playing through it once is like
other people
to
playing through it
somebody
5
playing
times.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah. What did you find? I mean, you've been sort of noodling all through the interview anyway on the Snow Falcon. This is the Epiphone Snow Falcon, by the way, that we were talking about in the interview with Brendan. We have one on loan from Epiphone.
So actually, this lead part I'm about to play is just all the single note stuff for the most part. There's some chords in the beginning, but like if you guys know this, are familiar with this tune, you'll know that there are a million guitar layers on it. So and basically there's like guitar leads going on the entire time, which is really cool. So the rhythm arrangement is all like the riffy stuff, and then the lead is kind of the dedicated, like all the
Single notes.
Single note stuff on top.
All right.
Yeah.
You want to give it a shot?
Let's do it.
All right. Blackfire Upon Us by Dethklok, one of the 3 songs in this week's Dethklok 2 DLC pack. After this, we will do our final giveaway. We've got an Ernie Ball prize pack for you to win with strings and a strap and a bunch of other stuff that I think anybody would probably enjoy having. So stick around for that. Of course. You you can choose to add and embellish as you see fit. If you're bored, say, with all those notes, and you want to add like 100 more, go ahead. That's fine. That's the Brian Shu way of doing things.
I only did that.
Not that, buddy.
I did that because I messed up the solo. But.
You know what? I didn't really notice anything being messed up. It sounded great and it looked great. You're fine.
Hey,
you know what? We'll keep you.
I did better than I thought.
You know what?
It's a long song.
It is. Yeah, it's
I have
definitely
delicate little guitar player fingers, not bass fingers.
Yeah, but there's no tension on those strings because you're tuned down to C. So at least it's sort of,
String's almost as thick as my fingers.
Oh, that's you're just playing spaghetti noodles, basically.
Yeah.
Thank you both. That was really, really
that was
awesome.
Fun. That's satisfying.
Great tune.
But I know everybody's now they want the free stuff. So let's do the free stuff and go home. We have one more of those Ernie Ball prize packs to give away, and we'll give it away now. Everything you see on the screen is going home with somebody. We gave one of these away at the beginning of the show, and hopefully you reached out to UB Vertigo when he asked you for all of your contact information, and you gave it to him because he will then pass that on to me, and I will put all the stuff into boxes and try to get this out to you ASAP. Like tomorrow. What I try to do is pack the boxes on Thursday night so that they're ready for the mailroom on Friday morning, and hopefully they go out. Doesn't always happen, but I like to be, as prepared as possible. But you're going to get everything you see here. Brand new Ernie Ball strings. Of course, they are famous for their strings, both regular slinky strings for your guitar and regular bass slinky strings for your bass guitar. Good sort of middle-of-the-road gauges. Do it all. Anything that you want to do, you can tune up, you can tune down. But they're really comfortable, 10 to 46s, and I always forget, is that 45? No, it's 50. I think they're 50s. So regardless, you will also get a peg winder. If you've ever tried to change strings without a peg winder, why are you doing that to yourself? Just get one of these cool little plastic doohickeys, and it makes everything a million times easier. A million times, plus or minus 100,000. Also, the Ernie Ball Wonder Wipe system is a way to keep your guitar maintained. That's keep the strings clean, keep the fretboard moist, and with the oils that it needs to have the wood feel good under your fingers, and also looks a lot better when it's properly conditioned. And then, of course, polish cloths as well. These are sort of pre-moistened. The polish that you would normally spray on there, it's already baked in. You just rip open the little foil pouch, and you're good to go. And then, of course, a brand new strap. It's always good to have a spare one. A friend might need one. You never know. And we've been using these kind of Ernie Ball nylon straps around the office for 2 or 3 years now. And let me tell you, they hold up. It's very good. Plus, a dozen of picks from Ernie Ball, and 3 of our super special pink Rocksmith picks. You can only get those here. We don't sell them. They are purely promotional things that we put together, and we give them out here to thank you for tuning into our stream. So if you would like to win everything that you see here, just follow UB Vertigo's advice. That's Doug. He's our community manager, and he'll tell you what you need to do in order to enter that giveaway. He's probably already said it. He may repeat himself yet again. But after a couple of minutes, he'll close that, and we'll pick a winner, and then I'll send out all that stuff. Good luck to you if you're just here for the free stuff. Thank you for coming. If you were here for the Brendan Small interview, we will upload that as its own thing on our YouTube channel. So look for that at youtube.com/rocksmithgame. Also, you can reach out to us on social media. We are available on Twitter at rocksmithgame. We're also on Facebook at just /rocksmith. And most importantly, you should stop by rocksmith.com, which is our website. We have our own forums there. And tomorrow, we'll be posting a clue as to what next week's DLC will be. You guys actually solved Rolling Stone 222's puzzle for the Dethklok reveal last week. It took a little bit longer than most, which was great because we kind of like stumping you, to be completely honest. We never know. Is it going to take 20 minutes? Is it going to take 5 hours? It's somewhere in between, and the only way that it speeds up is if you participate. If you work with the other people in the forums. Everybody's saying, I think this means this. I think these are intentionally cryptic, but they're supposed to be fun. So if you'd like to have that kind of fun, stop by our website tomorrow. sort of on the early side, but not like super crazy early. But it should be before noon on the East Coast, actually. And you can jump in with everybody else. You'll get a clue if you solve the puzzle that Rolling Stone 222 has created for you. We will confirm it and let you know what it means and what you can look forward to on Tuesday. And then we'll reveal more information about next week's pack as the week goes on. But if you want to be really at the cutting edge, the bleeding edge of knowing exactly what's going on, that's where you want to be tomorrow. It's in our forums at rocksmith.com. I think that's it. Thank you so much to Brendan Small for his time. Thank you to Epiphone for the loan of that excellent Snow Falcon, which it does pain me that we have to return it because, again, you saw David Stevens was not kidding. He's like, I think I'm going to have to go find one of these. I'm like, well, you better hurry up because Brendan said in the interview that, when they're gone, they're gone. And thank you, most of all, for showing up and supporting us and hanging out with us for an hour or so. We're going to leave you with a look at the Dethklok 2 trailer. This DLC is available now. Start your quest to perfect these songs, or just get them as far as they feel fun for you this weekend. Have a good one, and we'll see you back here next week on Thursday at 3 p.m. Pacific, 6 p.m. Eastern, 10 p.m. UTC. I'm Dan Emmerich. I'm the community developer, and I'm out of here. Have a good one.